All right, welcome to week 4 out of 6 for our social emotional learning workshop. Just a reminder, this is a skill building workshop, so we will be working on building skills. If you do have a mental health concern, I would talk to your school counselor, and if you want, you can reach out to our mental health program specialist, Ashley Sanders, and her information is on this slide. Just a reminder, we talked about self-awareness week 1. This is understanding ourselves, our emotions, our morals, our values, our thoughts. Week 2, we focused on self-management, so being able to regulate our emotions. Also falls into that is that time management piece. We talked about social awareness last week, so empathy and how our behaviors impact others and being able to identify feelings in others. Tonight, we are going to talk about relationship skills. And then next week, we're going to talk about responsible decision making. All right, so how did last week's skill go? We talked about empathy and showing kindness. Were you able to use one of the skills? And just a reminder, we were talking last week about kindness and showing kindness to others, and we did the wrinkled heart activity that really showed the lasting effects of hurtful actions on others and how we can try to show compassion and that helps, but we really do have some lasting effects from those hurtful things. Awesome. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about relationship skills, specifically communication. So this is being able to express what you're feeling and what you need. And there's verbal and nonverbal communication, which we'll get into a little bit more. Social engagement is also part of relationship skills, so maintaining current friendships that you already have. And then there's making friends, so making new social connections. And then teamwork, so contributing to your team, being a productive team member, and respecting others. Okay, so first let's start with a little activity. So how do you know that someone is listening to you? If you could type in the chat box or say out loud, how you know when someone is listening to you. So for example, I'm going to say they're looking at me. Yes, they have a reaction. So they heard what you said and they internalized it, and then they had a reaction to that. Yes, they're not distracted. Maybe they're leaning forward. They're leaning in towards me as I speak. They're nodding their head. They're smiling. Their phone's put away. All right, how do you know when someone is not listening to you? So for example, I know when someone's not listening to me, they're usually on their phone or they're looking around the room, anywhere but me, or down at the ground. They're, not looking and not reacting. They're not reacting to what I'm saying. They're going, uh-huh, mm-hmm. Their eyes aren't on me. They're leaning away from me. Just those are all things that show that they're not listening. So there's verbal and nonverbal ways for listening, and it's estimated that up to 93% of communication is nonverbal. So what you're saying is conveyed by your body and your face and your facial expressions more so than what your actual words are saying. So I always think that's very interesting, and I always try to be very cognizant and aware when I'm around other people what my body language is saying to them, because I might be listening, but if I'm looking at my phone or looking the other way, they're going to feel like I'm not listening, and that can be harmful to a friendship or relationship. So Inside Out is one of my favorite movies, so we're just going to watch a short little video on communication skills, so empathetic listening. So let me turn the volume up. Oops.
You are going to the moon. Riley can't be done with me.
Hey, it's gonna be okay. We can fix this. We just need to get back to headquarters. Which way to the train station?
Had a whole trip planned for us.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster. Hey, Bing Bong, look at this. Oh, here's a fun game. You point to the train station and we all go there. Won't that be fun? Come on, let's go to the train station.
I'm sorry they took your rocket. They took something that you loved. It's gone forever.
Sadness. Don't make him feel worse.
Sorry.
It's all I had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time, we had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
Sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah. Sad.
I'm okay now. Come on. The train station is this way.
Okay, so how did we know that Joy was not listening, and how did we know that Sadness was listening to Bing Bong? What was the difference in their reactions? So Joy was saying the right things, right? She was like, oh, yeah, I hear you. But she was pulling him along. She was trying to move on to what she wanted to do. And she was, ready to go. We don't have time for this. We have things to do. Whereas Sadness took the time to sit down and say, hey, man, this is hard. I hear you, and this is what I hear. So she was repeating back to him what she heard him saying. So he felt heard, and just feeling heard made him feel better. When Joy didn't take the time to listen and to really understand and to really empathize with Bing Bong, he felt even more alone and isolated. So sometimes just taking the time to sit down and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing you say. That must be hard. That must be sad. Can really make a difference. So we're going to talk about I statements tonight. That's going to be our skill. So I statements are great because they're really good at not placing the blame on other people, because you're talking about you and what you need and how you're feeling. And you're not blaming someone else for making you feel that way. You're just saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling it. And in order to feel better, this is what I need. So when you do I statements, and it can be really tough sometimes, and I still have to practice at it, you want to make sure you don't use the word you or blame someone specifically for making you feel that way, because everyone has different reactions, right? So something that might make someone angry might make me sad, and the other person might not know how we're feeling. So that's why we're telling them, and we're telling them, what event occurred to make us feel that way. But when we place blame, it puts the other person on the defensive, and we're less likely to have a good conversation. I know I feel that way. If I feel like someone's blaming me for something, I'm instantly like, whoa. And I'm not listening the way I should be listening. I'm not listening empathetically the way that Sadness was listening in the video. I'm more like Joy, like, oh yeah, sorry you feel that way. That I didn't make you feel that way, and kind of trying to move along. So there's 3 parts to an I statement. There's I feel, and that's where you insert what you're feeling. The more specific you can get, the better. So instead of saying, I feel sad, Maybe you feel lonely or left out or isolated, or maybe you feel instead of angry, maybe you're really frustrated, or maybe you're feeling jealous. So really looking to see specifically rather than a broad, this makes me sad or angry, like really digging deep, like what is it, what feeling is underlying that anger or sadness? And then seeing when you feel it. So very specifically, because if you say, man, I feel isolated, people are going to be like, okay, when do you feel isolated? They might think you're talking about something that happened a week ago, whereas you're talking about what happened just now. Maybe you were left out of recess just now, but they're thinking you're talking about, last week when you didn't sit with them for lunch. And then telling the other person what you need. So this is what I need to feel better. And try to make it, you can make it as realistic as you want, and knowing that you might not necessarily get exactly what you need. There might be some compromise. What you need might not be possible, but just being able to state what you need for the other person can help them take a look at, okay, well, I can't really do that, but this is what I can do. So if you tell them what you need, then you eliminate them having to guess what to do to feel better. Because maybe I just want a hug to feel better, and then the person apologizes, but I might still feel upset because I didn't get a hug. So really putting out there and laying it out, what we're feeling, when we're feeling it, and what you need to feel better really takes the guesswork out of things for the other person and really allows a good conversation to happen. So I'll do the first example. So someone cuts in front of you in line. So I feel frustrated when I get cut in line. I need to make sure that I am able to keep my place in line. So again, I didn't say you, I didn't say I feel frustrated when you cut me in line. I just said, I feel frustrated when I get cut in line. And then I need to maintain my spot in line, because if I'm further back in line, I'm not going to get my food for lunch as quickly as I'd like. So explaining it in those terms, and then that gives the other person the chance to go, oh, well, how about I get behind you then? That way you stay your place in line. So really giving them another chance. So let's do the next one together. So someone asks you to play at recess. So this is a more positive situation. And I purposely included this because I think it's important when we are experiencing a happy feeling or a good feeling that we let someone know that they caused that feeling, because it lets the other person feel good about what they did, and it sends a signal to them that, hey, maybe I should do this more. So I'm going to go back a couple slides to the I feel statement. So someone asks you to play at recess. How do you think you might feel if someone asks you to play at recess? Happy? Mm-hmm. Yep, you might feel joyful. You might feel included. You might feel connected. So I feel happy when I'm asked to play at recess. What might we need in this situation? So we might say, I need to continue to be included. So I feel happy when I'm asked to play at recess. I need to continue to be included, because then that lets the other person know, hey, this made me really happy. Can you please keep including me, because this is great. All right. Your mom asked you to clean your room, but you want to finish your TV show. How might you be feeling? Annoyed might be one feeling. I might be feeling annoyed that you're asking me to turn off the TV. But again, we want to make sure we're not saying you. So I feel annoyed when I can't finish my show. I need to be able to finish the last 10 minutes. And then at that point, the parent can say, okay, you can start your chores and clean your room after your show, Or they can say, no, you've already watched, X amount of time. I'm going to ask you again to turn off the TV. So again, that I need doesn't mean that you are going to get exactly what you ask for, but it does give you a chance to express what you're wanting and allow the other person to compromise with you on it. Okay, so your math homework is very hard. What might you be feeling? So when I'm not good at something, a feeling that comes up for me often is insecure. So my initial reaction is, oh, frustrated. I'm frustrated when my homework is hard. But really underlying that is insecurity because I'm trying something and I'm not very good at it. And that's a difficult feeling. So I might be feeling insecure. I might be feeling frustrated. I might be feeling sad. So a lot of different feelings can come up. So I'm going to go with insecure. So I feel insecure when I don't understand the homework. I need help because that clearly expresses to either the teacher or the parent that I need help with my homework because this is hard and I'm having a hard time with it. Okay, so what's a situation that you can think of where an I statement would be helpful? So let's talk about a situation and then let's make an I statement together. So it could be a situation with your student, it could be a situation that your student might have at school. What are some situations, or at least a situation, that we think a I statement might be helpful? Or a student with one of their friends. So, what common things that friends might need to communicate about. So I think at the elementary level, especially a common argument, especially for maybe our kindergarten or first graders, might be sharing. So I have a toy, and then all of a sudden my friend wants the toy, but I had it first. So an I statement could be, I feel frustrated when I have my toy taken away by someone else. I need at least 5 more minutes with this toy before I share. And then at that point, the teacher can determine, yes, you had that toy and that's for you to play with, or, you've had it for the last 30 minutes, let's let someone else play with it. I think as students get older, common situations between friends might be where they ask to choose between friends. So I'm friends with you, but I don't like this other person that you're friends with. So I want you to be friends with just me. So an I statement there could be, I feel, what a good word be for that? I feel hurt when I'm asked to choose between friends. I need the ability to be friends with whoever I would like. So again, we're avoiding the use of you, and we're trying to use words other than just angry and frustrated. And angry and frustrated are good words still, and those will be used. And sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, those are the only words you can come up with. But it's important to kind of look at other feelings too. And so that's where week one came in handy, where we were looking up feelings and we were creating feelings journals and identifying where we feel in our bodies and creating the feelings mood meter and filling that in. Any questions about I statements or communication or verbal, nonverbal, listening, not listening? Okay, and I'm going to include my email in the chat box again. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer those. All right, so your homework is to use at least 2 I statements a day for at least 2 different emotions. So I would recommend doing maybe one happy, one like positive feeling, and then one maybe frustrated or angry feeling, especially with your kiddos. If you're able to reinforce and say, hey, you're doing a great job at this, it boosts their self-esteem and makes them feel good that they made you feel good and that they're doing something right. That way, when you later use a nice statement for maybe something that they need to change or do a little better at, it's not as hard because they have that positive reinforcement for that positive behavior earlier in the day. Next week, we are going to talk about responsible decision making. So we have some steps for that. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really enjoyed getting to talk and work through these communication skills. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to email me, and I'll see you next week for responsible decision making.